the critical explanation or interpretation of a body of work. We examine the fandoms of young and old, looking from origin to ending and everywhere in between. They say you never truly know someone until you know what they are passionate about. Sit back and buckle up. Welcome to the Exegesis.
What's going on, everybody? It is another fabulous Thursday afternoon. I'm going to check one setting here just to make sure. Yep, everything looks like it is on and ready to go. How's everybody's week been? Hopefully well. Man, I tell you, it's been an adventure here. I had to go to the doctor yesterday. Got set up for a surgery time for next week. So that should be fun. I'm hoping it's not going to conflict too much with my schedule. I might pre-record it and then have it come out at the same time and comment in the chat, but probably won't be live. Just that way I make sure that it's going without a hitch. And I am supplying the content that I want to produce and the quality that I want to produce rather than being rushed or whatnot. But I'll be traveling Thursday evening for about 3 hours up to Texas so I can get my surgery. Always fun in the neighborhood. Anyway, yes, welcome to the Exegesis. We here at the Exegesis like to take a hard look at all things pop culture, whether it be Star Wars or Marvel, DC, or in the case of tonight, we are looking at the evolution of watching movies at home, the possible death of physical media. So that's what we have on tap tonight. Of course, we are part of the Red 5 network, and you can always find us at our bio links. So we have bio.link/Red5 to get all of that good Red 5 podcasting in your ears. We have lots of different shows. We have shows that just are for everybody. If you hear one, you're like, really not for me, check out another one. Guaranteed there's going to be something that you like. We're just a group of nerds that like to gather together, collaborate, and work on ideas and put stuff out to the public. And, of course, our bio link here, bio.link/exegesis, EXEGESIS. So, yeah, man, I'm telling you, what a week. We had wind here. I think it's finally died down, but around 2 o'clock or so, the wind was blowing so hard that areas in our town have lost power. Even the schools were losing power. I think they said that a transformer even blew off a pole because the winds were getting so high. I think they said gusts of 70 to 75 miles an hour. So you can imagine what that's like here. Part of the reason why a lot of people in this area, much like Anakin, just don't like sand. It gets everywhere. It's absolutely insane. It's hot, and there was a comedian, and I can't remember who said it. Actually, I think I do remember now. Ron White, tater salad guy, said that it's not that the wind is blowing, but that the wind is, or no, it's not that the wind is blowing, it's what the wind is blowing. So yeah, you never know. I've seen a guy where he lost a radiator because the stem of a tumbleweed went through his radiator, pierced the radiator. Uh, Signs, siding. You never know what's going to go across the road. Cows, cats, dogs, armadillos. Yeah, out here in the desert Southwest, you just never know. So looking at the chat, hey, we have Ro already in the house, and we have Spencer. Thank you guys for showing up. Spencer's looking forward to hearing what I have to say on this topic. We'll get to that in just a minute. I was going to go over some news, and I think that's where we are now. I was seeing if we got any other people in the chat, but thanks for the two that are here so far. I'm sure we'll pick up normally about another 5 to 10 minutes. So saying that, let's get into the news. Oops. Fast twitch finger there. Anyway, really not much in the news. After I had a lot of work to do today to get caught up for missing yesterday, so I didn't get a whole lot in there. What I wanted to do as far as like pictures and stuff, but there have been a couple of things that dropped. And I wanted to go over the box office. Since we're talking about watching movies at home, let's we'll take a look and see what's in the movie theaters, because one, I'm almost an hour away from a movie theater, so I don't get out as much as I'd like, as much as you city folks. But yeah, so let's start there. The box office, number one, and this is as of yesterday. What was number one yesterday? It was Anyone But You, a Columbia Pictures movie. It has grossed to date $47 million. I know nothing about this movie, but let's see what it says. After an amazing first date, B and Ben's, really? That's the characters' names, B and Ben. All right. Fiery attraction turns ice cold until they find themselves unexpectedly reunited at a destination wedding in Australia. So they do what any two mature adults would do: pretend to be a couple. I don't even see trying to see if I can find a cast in here. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. Not that big of yeah. All right, it's a romantic comedy. Number two would be Wonka. Wonka is currently sitting at I wonder why it's my it's fine. $167 million for Wonka. Number two yesterday. Of course, this one, it's a almost a prequel to the Gene Wilder one with, and I'm going to butcher this name, Timothy Chalamet, I believe. With dreams of opening a candy shop in a city renowned for its chocolate, a young and poor Willy Wonka discovers that the industry is run by a cartel of greedy chocolatiers. I haven't seen this one. I really enjoyed the first one with Gene Wilder. Not so much the one with Johnny Depp. That was just a little too odd. But I wanted to get out and see this one. My daughter saw it, and she was surprised that it was a musical. I was like, don't you remember the first one? Even the one Johnny Depp had some sort of music in there. And number three, surprisingly, is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. People are actually going to see this movie. After a strong second week or second day showing, where it had 4 million. It's so yeah, opening day, I guess, or first day this week, $3 million, $4 million on the 6th, which was Saturday. Then it drops down to 2 million, and then drops even further. They've lost almost $2 million per day. So $3 million on Friday, 4.6 million on Saturday, 2.8 million on Sunday. Monday didn't even make $1 million. Tuesday, a little bit higher at 958,000, and then yesterday 680,000. This will be out of the theaters probably by next week. How dismal that is there. Spencer said Wonka is definitely worth watching. Fantastic movie. I'm really surprised that it's and I still have that going. Why is that still? Let's see. There we go. All right, I got that ticker going off. Anyway, despite barely any marketing, Aquaman is doing better than every DC film since Black Adam, which is really surprising. After seeing the first one and was like, wow, they're actually going to make a second one, and then to have so many production issues that they've had, I'm surprised people are actually going to see this movie. I've heard it was awful. Steve from Rebel Rock Radio said that this movie, Aquaman 2, is worse than Thor Dark World, but I still think he has Eternals as the worst movie ever made. But Aquaman 2 was followed there. So Spencer would probably know this one. I think he said he's seen it. Did they replaced what's her name? Johnny Depp's ex-wife. I know they were talking about it. I don't know if they ever did that or if they just cut out her participation in it at all. But yeah, what else did we have that was there? Night Swim. My daughter went and saw that. She goes to the movies with her friends all the time. She has more time than I do. She said it was okay. She also saw Migration and said that it was another one that was okay. Seemed like a lot of other movies that she had seen. I should bring her on the show and have her do a movie review segment of my 16-year-old daughter there. Anyway, so that's what's in the box office. Spencer said she's in the movie, has a few lines, and in the background a lot. Well, never mind. I won't go there. But yeah. We also had a couple of things drop on Disney Plus. One I recommended last week while I was a guest on a podcast, and that was Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So that one has dropped. I believe that we are up to episode 5 dropped on Tuesday. I'm really, really enjoying this one a lot better than I did the movie. And according to Rotten Tomatoes, the critics have given this a 96%. So the critics are really loving this series so far. Certified fresh. I don't know. Excuse me. Caught me by surprise. Don't really hold much stock with the critics. What I typically look for is the audience score. And it's still relatively high at 84%. But again, go watch it. Make up your own mind. don't take my word for it. I like things and I'm different than everybody else. So go watch it, check it out. If you got Disney Plus, you can even binge most of it now. And the second one that has come out, which I have not seen yet, it came out this week, and they dropped, and I believe it's 5 episodes. But they dropped Echo, so Marvel's Echo. And let's see if there's a I was going to get a brief synopsis on there, but it is a Marvel one. We saw it in Hawkeye character, and she's got all sorts of abilities and is highly trained in martial arts. Other than or in spite of being an amputee and I believe deaf. It's been a while since I watched Hawkeye, and I'm not familiar with this character in the comics. I, again, live in the country, out in the desert. We don't have comic book stores. But it was an interesting way to see her. But yeah, I believe she's missing a leg. I don't remember about an arm. I'll have to ask Danny. Danny would know. And I believe she's deaf as well, but can seriously kick just about anybody's butt when it comes down to it. I believe and I don't know why words are so hard now. Oh, probably because I've had my brain scanned so many times. But Kingpin is in there. Wilson Fisk is back. Vincent D'Onofrio, and I believe it is going off of the Netflix show. So that will be interesting to see how it all ties together. And yeah, Spencer had a really cool point that a lot of the cast and crew of Echo learned basic sign language just for her, which is really cool. I love that they have someone that has disabilities, and instead of, I don't know how the best way to say this. They're giving them a shot instead of having an able-bodied person try to act disabled. Hopefully that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. But yeah, if they can do the job, great. Who cares if they're deaf? Who cares if they're missing an appendage of some sort? If they can do the job, then let them do it. Don't hire an able-bodied person to pretend, to be something that they're not, other than that, they're an actor. But yeah, I'm glad that the cast and crew seem to be receptive to having a person with disabilities, and I hate calling it disabilities. They just differently abled. That's just cool to see. But yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I really want to. I kind of was waiting to see if one of my kids wanted to watch it, or my wife. But again, just been so busy this week, it's kind of hard to fit everything in. But yeah, trying to think what else is racking my brain to see if there's anything else that's out there. Nothing's really coming as far as news, or there is something, and I know Ro's probably going to put his fingers in his ears for this one. But that's all right because it's sports related. And I know Roe loves sports ball in all of its many facets. But I am an NFL football fan. I am a diehard Patriots football fan. I actually have a Patriots tattoo on my leg. I am that deep of a Patriots fan. But they did let their yes, Spencer, I know, yawn sports, but they let their head coach go today. They agreed to part ways. Coach Belichick, no longer the coach of the New England Patriots after 24 years, 9 Super Bowls with 6 wins. Definitely a Hall of Fame coach. But, you know, that's all right. To me, it is newsworthy. Suck it, Spencer. It's all right. All right. Home movies. Opinion. All right. So my opinion on the Mando and Grogu movie. Am I looking forward to it? Kind of is the best way I could say that. Kind of. I don't know if it's. I'll watch it. How much I'll enjoy it will depend on the writing. I enjoyed them when they first came out. I enjoyed The Mandalorian. Each season that we get them, it just seems to be lower and lower and lower. So I don't know where my expectations are on this one. I heard that, and I don't know. Again, been busy. I don't know how this all fits in. I don't know that if this is that big finale of the Filoni verse that they were that's going to culminate in this movie. So it's going to wrap up like Ahsoka and the Mandalorian, Book of Boba, all of the stuff that Filoni has created so far. If that's it, then cool, great. If not, then yeah, I think that they should have waited. All right, well, if it's not the final movie, then I think they should have waited. Make it a season. Put your time into it, write it well, direct it well, get everything perfect in it. Because if season 4 is lackluster, people are not going to go see the movie. They just won't. They'll be tired of it, and there's like, oh, why go see the movie when expectations, especially where season 3 ended. Yeah, and Ahsoka. I mean, everybody was like, oh yay, Ahsoka, and by the end of Ahsoka, then you have, everyone's like, oh, Ahsoka, oh boy, okay, all right, and now season 2 of Ahsoka was confirmed. Great. But where do they go to expand on it? And so newest rumor today is making a short season 4 and then this movie. Just do what you're going to do for season 4. Make it a full length season and just include the movie at the end of it. Just have a long or a 2-parter season finale and make it an hour apiece. Actual runtime, not including the 37 minutes of credits that they put on the end of these things. But give it a 8 episode, make it a 9 episode with a 2-part ending, have each one be an hour long. People will sit there for it, and people will do a cut of it where you get to watch the whole movie back to back without any of the, hey, stay tuned for part 2 next week. I don't jip a season just so you can make a movie and make more money. To me, that makes no sense. Because if you jip on the season, people aren't going to go see the movie. They'll just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'll definitely have to write that down and revisit it. Hold on. Excuse me. Have to get a refresher there. All right. Danny, welcome in. Welcome in. All right, Danny. Here's a question for you. And I already said that I was going to ask you, and since you are here, I will ask you now. Echo. Here you go. Echo is missing a leg, I believe, around the knee. Is there an arm missing as well? And she is deaf, I believe. Am I correct on that? I said you would be the person to know, and I know that you have a review of Echo coming up, I believe, on Sunday, which I was going to plug at the end. But yeah, Spencer and I both have not started Echo yet. Missing her right leg and deaf. Okay, I knew that there was a part of a leg, and I believe it's at the knee or thereabouts. But I wasn't sure if there was an arm. For some reason, I was thinking something with an arm as well, but maybe not. So yes, everyone stay tuned. Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, Danny will have a full review of the Echo show. Again, I can't add too much to it. Other than what I did, sort of brings back the Netflix, or ties into the Netflix show, and that I guess Kingpin is in it, and Echo's Echo. So yeah, go listen to her at Comics and Cosmetics, and I'll try to put the link in the show notes. So awesome. All right. Movies at home. We all love movies. I love going to the movies. It's just, I don't get there as much as I would like to. When I lived in the city, and heck, when I lived in the city, I worked at a mall that had 7 or 8 movies on the 3rd floor of the mall. And, you get to know people. You get to go see tacos. Now I want tacos. Dang you. That's all right. All right. Anyway, so I used to go to the movies all the time, and I love the atmosphere. I love watching movies. And it's always interesting to me to see how people watch movies at home. Some people are just basic TV and cable, or back in the day, it was a VCR, or now a DVD player. Hey, Ubaldo, welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. Tonight we are talking the evolution of home movie entertainment and how people go about watching that. And then at the end, of course, we'll ask the all-important question, is physical media dead? But yeah, so I loved watching movies, and then as the years have gone by, watching them at home was always fun. It was always interesting to see people's setups, whether it was just a TV and using those speakers, whether they had a surround sound, whether or not they actually had like a theater room that was just set up, dedicated, and it was like a theater experience. Or if like I have a projector with a 100-foot screen that I don't really watch anymore. But to get that immersive experience. Hey, Dragon Buddy's in the chat. Welcome, Dragon Buddy. Thanks for stopping in. But yeah, it's always cool to see how people watch theirs, and then whether or not they still have some of the old equipment, the VHS players, the DVD players, the laser disc, whether or just a streaming device. So first, we're going to look at the history of it. So again, it's hard to imagine us not watching movies. We nerds love to just soak ourselves in to whatever it is, a world far, far away. Hey, Tina, welcome in. Whether it's I lost my train of thought. Anyway, but yeah, we do everything to get lost in the world, whether it's read comics or read or watch the movies or read the books, build models. Some of us dress up and cosplay as our as our favorite characters, like the 501st, and we go around and bad guys doing good, and it's great. But in 1965, Eastman Kodak released the Super 8 film format into the world. So this was a huge leap in technology. It actually allowed people to make their own movies, to rewatch film that they couldn't do before this time. But unfortunately, it did have a large price tag on there. And the cameras, the film itself, it was really hard to come by. That was the Super 8. There were other things that you could get. One of the most famous films ever is 1963 with the Zapruder film. But as far as mass market it and what people could get in their homes, the Super 8 was there. And then we jump forward almost 10 years. And Sony released this item. And for us old people, we'll remember this. I know me, Ro, that's probably about it. We're probably the oldest people in here. But 1975, Sony released the Betamax. And you guys have to tell me in the chat if you guys remember Betamax. It was a new way that you could capture video. It was a magnetic tape recording device, and it was even more affordable for people to watch movies at home. They could record on them, off of the television, or whether or not they had a camera that would record, and then they could play them back. Yes, I know, Spencer, you're a youngin'. He's speaking of a lot of unknown stuff to me. Yeah, but that's right. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. In fact, the film studios and video distributors thought the public would only want to rent movies, but as the machines became more and more affordable, the people wanted to build their own movie library. And so here's a trivia question for you. How did Betamax get its name? How did Betamax get its name? Well, beta is the Japanese word for describing how information was recording on the tape. and as the tape ran through the transport, it appeared to look like the beta symbol from the Greek alphabet. Max was taken from maximum to imply greatness. So as it ran through the cassette, it said that they said that it looked like the Japanese symbol from the Greek alphabet, and that it was a great thing. And that started the first, or here comes the first video war. So Betamax was released first, but a lot of companies were trying to find a more customer-friendly version. And not only that, an affordable playing device. Betamax were expensive. It was had really high video recording. They had the players themselves were they were a wonder. They were great. You could stop it. You could pause wherever you wanted to, forwards, backwards. You had all of that. You couldn't do that before on the other open film or Super 8 reels. You actually would have to rewind manually the tape in order to restart it and get it to go again, whereas Betamax really changed the way that you could watch a movie at home. But in the next year, 1976, a company called JVC, which is Victor Company of Japan, produced their own recording videotape technology. So here's trivia question number 2. They recorded, or they produced something known as VHS. A VHS tape. What does VHS stand for? I'll give that a minute or two while I have a drink. So VHS stood for Video Home System. And so, yeah, JVC came out with the VHS, and that really started that really started the video wars. So some of the big factors in it was that the Betamax only had about 60 minutes of recording time. And the VHS had that to 120 minutes. And each company wanted to get the recording time to 4 hours. So, and here's another trivia. The reason why they wanted to get the 4-hour time limit was because that was the average time for an American football game to run on television. So we have American football, Roe, sports, Spencer, to thank for the ultimate 4-hour goal of recording on a video cassette. See, sports are good for something. So while great strides were made in making the recording time, what sacrificed was the quality. The longer that you recorded, the less quality you would get in your picture. And Beta had the better picture quality, and the Sony engineers just they didn't want to give up that picture quality in order for the time to record. Unfortunately, uh, the televisions at the time were not able to really capture the differences between the videos. If I'm trying to remember right, I believe it was um, the Betamax could get 180 video lines or TV lines, and the VHS got down to, when they recorded for 4 hours, I believe, got down to like 80 or 90 video lines. And it just really wasn't much of a difference to tell. There was not that big of a difference. Now you'd be able to tell on a television, but you know, that's really what sunk the Betamax. Was they didn't want to sacrifice the recording time for their picture quality that nobody would notice anyway. So in the end, JVC licensed their VHS technology to the larger electronics companies, Magnavox, Zenith, RCA, Panasonic, and others, which really allowed the growth uh, to really just exponentially just wipe the floor with Betamax. Um, and so the VHS became the winner. Let's see. So that started in 1970. It's a 76 VHS came out. About 1977, 78, they really started ramping up in the U.S. By 1980, nearly everybody had a VCR or a VHS device and a library. I remember going over to some friend's house, even my uncle, who had HBO, would record movies off of HBO, and that way he could watch them whenever he wanted. And he had hundreds and hundreds of tapes, and you could get, I think by that time you could get 6 hours on a tape, so you could watch pretty much 3 movies on there. And he had each one cataloged in he had a notebook that he would write down. Tape 1 had movie 1, 2, and 3. Tape 2 had 4, 5, and 6. And if you wanted to watch something, you just scrolled through and, all right, I need tape 15, and I need to fast forward to hour and 37 minutes, and you would get hey, thanks for stopping by, Dragon Buddy. He has memories of dubbing cassettes and ELP VHS tapes to HBO. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's it was pretty cool to see how he had everything organized, and in walls of video cassettes. And they were large. Video cassettes were what, 6x4. And Dragon Buddy will always love physical media. I agree. I mean, not to get ahead of myself, but I enjoyed the physical media, but we'll get into why here soon. So yeah, then we had 1980. Let's see, only a few years after Betamax and VHS tapes entered the market, they had the first commercial optical disc became available to the public. Laserdisc technology was invented by David Paul Gregg and James Russell back in 1958. It was first patented in 1961. But it wouldn't come out really for North American shelves until MCA DiscoVision put out the first laser disc in 1978. So we've already gone up another 10 years. And we're at, 2 years to 1978. And the first movie that was offered on Laserdisc, dun, 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 Jaws, the Spielberg classic movie, was the first movie offered in the United States or in North America. It was a success in Japan, but again, it was it never really broke into the American and European market. It took several years in order for it to really come out. The big difference between the laser, not only is it a laser disc, but it was the audio would have both analog and digital. And this allowed for the first time to give you special edition features like commentary tracks that could be added to a film afterwards. Any extra scenes or just whatever they wanted to put in there, they could put on there. The cool thing about the video disc was for the first time, you could jump instantly to anywhere at any time in the movie. And this was a huge advantage over the VHS or Betamax, where you actually had to rewind or fast forward and you get to all the good parts. The laser discs allowed you to jump around anywhere. But unfortunately, this also came at a price. The discs were the size of a record and weighed close to half a pound. Each side could only, when they first started, could only hold 30 to 60 minutes of information. So you would have to flip the disc over and catch the other side, and or have more than one disc in order to watch a movie. It's kind of like an intermission. All right, well, that part of it's over. Let's all go to the lobby, get refresh on snacks. We'll put in the next laser disc, and we'll be able to watch it. But the first Criterion Collection, the first special edition home video is Laserdisc. It was in 1984, and it was the movie Citizen Kane. It was the first movie to be marketed as a special edition. So there's some trivia for you. Citizen Kane, 1984, was the first special edition home video. And then, of course, it's a good movie. Really good movie. Spencer says he has to watch Citizen Kane soon. Really, really good movie. So, unfortunately, the Laserdisc phenomenon never really took off. the players were expensive. The laser discs themselves were expensive. Um, but uh, the last movie to be released on Laserdisc happened in the year 2000. So 23 years ago. And that movie was called Bringing Out the Dead. And if I remember right, it was a Nicolas Cage movie where he drove an ambulance. Pioneer would continue making Laserdisc players until 2009. But yeah, the technology that was there to make laser discs was extremely influential in the next war coming up. So the next one that really took off from VHS was the DVD. The DVD came out in 1995, or it was invented in 1995 by Philips, Sony, Toshiba, Panasonic. Yeah, I believe they all had different versions of this. And it was a lightweight disc that could hold a lot of information. And it really transformed the electronic world. And the movie industry was one to really reap the benefits. So they're in the chat. So I'm sure you, like me, had many, many, many VHS tapes. Do you guys still have any of those VHS tapes? I know that some of the Red 5 network does. And most of them probably are Star Wars related. I believe Roe still has the VHS trilogy box set unwrapped, I believe. And yes, I remember Ubaldo has the original Star Wars on Laserdisc. That is so awesome. That is really, really cool. I still have a few VHS tapes, but I don't have a player. I don't have anything to play them on. So, yeah. So, yeah, the chat's really going off now on VHS. Yeah, I mean, man, I grew up on VHS. It was great. In fact, we even had a Betamax player as well. I had one of each, and and I still remember the first movie I remember watching on Betamax, and don't judge. Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo was the first movie that I had watched on Betamax. Make fun if you wish. That is fine. Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the DVDs came out. The lifespan of a DVD is a lot longer than tapes. You could watch DVDs over and over and over and over again. While I don't know how many times we had to replace VHS tapes just because you watch it so many times that they run out. And you didn't have to worry about that as much with the DVD. The DVDs also got in the Laserdisc crowd because all the cool stuff and the special features and things that were on the Laserdisc you could now get on a DVD. And while Laserdiscs were retailing for almost $100 a pop, you could get DVDs for about $20. And it really got the the studios were able to mass produce and get these out to the public at a higher rate, and it really took off. Um, and while the DVDs really came out, invented in 1995, they didn't really hit the estates until about 1997, but the market really didn't hit until around the early 2000s. And then it wasn't until June of 2023 that DVD rentals began outnumbering the VHS. So yeah, and I still remember that. I remember it's like, oh man, all right, now I have all these VHSs. I'm gonna have to start replacing them because I've watched them so many times. Um, and then the DVDs came out, and then it's like, oh, this is the latest and greatest thing. And all right, but is it really going to take off? You know, VHS has been tried and true, and so is this Blu-ray? Is this DVD thing something that's really going to last, or is it going to fizzle out? And it took some time, but eventually it took it over. Ubaldo says that his first DVD was Twister and cost $49.99. I don't remember how much my first one was. I remember, and I believe it was like one of those Columbia House ones where you pick 5 DVDs, and as long as you bought 3 more in the next 6 months or so, then you got a good deal on them. I believe Matrix was the first DVD that I had bought, and which was cool because I always had speakers and good surround sound for when I listen to music. So to be able to catch that similar quality of sound while watching a movie was pretty cool to see. But yeah, Matrix was my first DVD that I had gotten. And the players were so expensive. It's not like now where you can go get a DVD player for $20 at Walmart. But that ushers in our next movie war or media war. So in the mid 90s, we had a huge leap in television quality, where we started getting the high definition televisions. The picture quality almost doubled, and it was really cool to see. And you could really start to see some of the pixelation in some of the DVDs and the VHS tapes. So how do you fix that? What do you get? Well, there were 2 different technologies that came out. Toshiba released something they called the high definition density DVD. And that was in 2006. The first movies that came out for that, Last Samurai, $1 Million Baby, Phantom of the Opera, Serenity, were the first movies available in that one, in that the HD DVD. In competition, another group began something that was called the Blu-ray disc, and they had been working on it for a while. And also in 2006, they released their first Blu-ray. In the first movies list that they had released, 51st Dates, The Fifth Element, Hitch, House of the Flying Daggers, Twister, Underworld Evolution, Triple X, and The Terminator. Those were all released at the same time, all on Blu-ray. Both formats wanted to avoid another marketing war, but they could never find common ground on who was going to win this competition. HD DVDs took off like crazy. They had more titles. The Blu-ray players when they first came out were noisy and they ran really hot, and it even got down to the gaming industry, which is where I think the war for this actually won. You had Xbox that had the HD DVD technology inside the Xbox, but Sony and PlayStation 3 used the Blu-ray player for its primary media. And Sony and PlayStation 3 really sold so many systems. And not only that, for the first time, you could actually really watch movies in high definition quality in a game system. And rather than being just a game system, it was more of a home entertainment system. So it was pretty cool to see. And it was just, I believe with Sony and the PlayStation 3, they ended up winning that war. And everyone would change their formats. And Blu-ray ended up winning out. In fact, it was 2008 that they said that the HD DVDs would no longer be in production. Stores like Walmart and Best Buy would stop carrying them. Places like Netflix and Blockbuster also said that they would no longer be doing the HD DVDs, and Toshiba stopped producing the machines to watch them in 2008. So, and we haven't even really got to the Blockbuster and those types of shops. Netflix, when it started as a company, was a DVD shipping company. So you'd go online, you'd select what movie you wanted to watch from Netflix, and they would send you one or two or three, depending on how many you had available in your price point. And then when they got those back, they would send you the next one on your list, and you could just continue doing it that way. That was before the streaming service. Now we have the streaming service that came on. Whether it was Netflix mailing the physical copy, then or switching it over to where it was a streaming service. Roku, basically, if you have the internet, you could stream movies from their service, which was cool. And and you could get more than one. And it was something that was extremely desirable because you weren't limited to one you space or um, uh, or having to rebuy things or forget to take it back or it get lost, then you have to pay $40 in order for it to get replaced. I remember the what are those called? The red box machines that are outside of like CVS and Walmarts, and where you could rent movies from. As after Blockbuster had gone away, and but if you lost one of those movies, it was like $37.95 in order to uh, to get it, or if you didn't return it within so many days, they would charge you for it, and you would just hold on to it. So yeah, now everybody and their mother can stream everything, whether it's through a device that's hooked up through your through the TV, in the internet, or your actual TV now, or a cell phone, a tablet, computer, any way that you want to watch movies. There is a way to do it now. And the streaming portion has greatly overtaken the physical media. It really is has. I know a lot of people, a lot of us, still collect the physical media, um, but a lot of people don't. They're just happy to settle with, and everybody has a streaming service. So I was looking the other day. Uh, in fact, I don't have my. I could stream. I was going to turn on my TV and read them off, but Netflix. I have Netflix. I have Disney Plus. With Disney Plus, I also have Hulu. Um, I also have Peacock. I have HBO or Max now because I have Amazon Prime uh, for mailing stuff and getting things shipped from Amazon. I also have access to the Prime movies, and with that comes Stars. So I have that. I have Paramount Plus, which also comes with Showtime. Um, I'm trying to think if there's any more. Plus, I mean, not only that, there's uh, um, Roku TV, which is all free. Freevee, which has movies on it. Uh, there's so many different streaming services uh, that are out there. Uh, I don't get as many as I used to. For me, when I was working in the oil field, you could either go to the bar or you could go back to your hotel or house that you're renting or whatever and watch movies and relax. Um, wasn't much of a drinker. I'm still not much of a drinker. And you'd hear stories about, oh yeah, well we, went to a bar, we got into a fight, and we had to get bailed out on Monday morning, and I wasn't about that. So I would go to Walmart, and they would have like the 5.99 bin, and I would find all these DVDs and things, and I would, that's how I would spend the weekend, watching movies and or going out and doing something other than hanging around all the bars. So I had thousands of DVDs and then Blu-rays that came out. But now uh, I still have some of them, but they're nearly unwatchable. And one of the big reasons why is I got kids, and especially kids when they're younger. And the now that the and at that time it was 30-40 dollars for a DVD player. The kids would have one in their room. They could throw on, oh, Peanuts or Barney or a Disney movie or whichever. And you try to teach them, all right, when you take it out, don't touch the other side, touch the side that's got this, put it in there, put it back on the shelf. You can get another one, especially they're 6, 7, 8 years old, 9 years old. And it never worked out. And you'd go in their room not an hour later, and there's about 30 DVDs all over the floor. Looks like that they were throwing them, chewing on them. You'd never know what they were doing. And then, of course, if it was one that I wanted, then I'd have to go and buy that. So, yeah, I mean, so my purchase for the Blu-rays, which were a lot more indestructible than the DVDs. DVDs would scratch. You could look at a DVD funny and it would scratch. The Blu-rays were a lot more hardy, but they don't know the power of kids. And kids can destroy anything in seconds. It's just a fact. It's just the way that it goes. Now, there are some that I still have. I still have, and sorry to say this, Ro, but in fact, I think the last ones that I bought were the Star Wars special editions for the sequel trilogy when they came out, just so I could have them because they always had the cool stuff that came with it. And I know I'm getting a little long here. So we had a big history on where they went or where we came from to where we are. We have lots of streaming now, which is what I do for the most part. Now, I still love collector's editions. I still love getting all the bells and whistles. I love seeing the documentaries, but I still worry about whether or not my kids are going to get into them. What happens if this disc goes missing? And I have this collector's edition, and it was a 4-disc set, and I have 3 of the discs. Well, now I have to go out and try to find another disc for it. But what makes you guys still buy the physical copies? Is it because they're collector's editions? Is it because you just you don't trust streaming media? What happens if the internet goes out and you want to watch a movie, and then if you're like me, you're kind of screwed because your now video library is online. So while you guys are answering that question, what makes you guys in the chat buy physical media? I'm going to go back. We had a poll that I posted on the Exegesis Twitter at the Exegesis R5. So if you don't follow that, go follow it. And basically, it was easy. Do you still buy physical media? And the choices that I had were yes. Yes, but only collectibles. No, but I still have a player. Or no, it's all digital. So not surprising, the 77, and there were 79 votes. This is the biggest poll I've ever had. So thank you guys for responding to this. I'm going to try to do this a little more often, get a little more interaction here. But 77% said yes. 11% said yes, but only collectibles. 8% said no, still have a player. And 4% said no, all digital here. Still 16 hours and 56 minutes left when that started. So approximately 15 hours left on that poll. So if you haven't voted on it, go vote on it. If not, see if it's changed any. As far as comments on that, Roe from the Scarif podcast said, my 2 purchases last week, and it was the Blu-ray of the creator and the 4K Ultra HD plus Blu-ray of Battlestar Galactica, 45th anniversary limited edition steelbook. So I know that Roe really liked the creator, but Battlestar Galactica, to me, that seems like that's a collector's edition with a steel book. I mean, that's something that's pretty cool. Ubaldo commented. He said, yes, all streaming rental services are getting expensive. I agree with that 100%. But I'm still paying less for all my streaming services than I am if I were to get cable. Because cable here is about $170, and you get, I think it's 80 stations, and I would only probably watch 4, maybe 5 of them. Plus, then if I wanted Netflix and everything like that. But yes, I agree. The rental services are getting expensive. They keep going up in price. Seems like every 4 or 5 months I get another notice. Hey, we're increasing our subscription by $2. Cam, who is at first I thought it was Cam Ray, but it's at Cameron 101298. Said for TV movies, no, but always buy physical games versus digital. I like seeing them on a shelf, being able to lend them to people, and most of all, knowing I won't lose access to them if something should happen to my account. And I didn't even think about that, the gaming aspect of that. Nin Temple said 99% physical only. It's the only way to buy. And Colin Horton Movie Review said, I don't trust streaming. But so that was the end of that. It's a go back to some of the comments that are here. Like I said, Ubaldo said all streaming services are high rental media. One day a movie is here and then moves somewhere else. I agree. It's really nerve-wracking to find out, oh yeah, I wanted to watch this movie. Oh, it's not over here. Now you have to do this one. I think all in all, for all of my subscription services, and I already named them off, I think I have 8 or 9 of them. I think it's $90 a month for all of those. And I get to watch a lot of movies, a lot of different movies. Disney Plus, big, because anytime I want to watch Star Wars, it's right there. But what happens if the internet goes down? I still have all of them, on Blu-ray, but if the internet goes down, for some of these, I'm kind of screwed on. Spencer said there's several movies I'd like to own on Blu-ray, but don't intend on watching them again anytime soon. So he's going to wait. You can easily stream them on a service that I have. That's fair. Yeah, absolutely. If there's one that you want to get and collect, then great. Yeah, absolutely. Tina doesn't like the control that streaming services exercise over the content, as if their content would be available to me. I agree 100%. It's like I said, trying to find a movie. We're one of my kids was for Christmas, she got all of the Hunger Games books, and I think she's read most of them already, but she wanted to go find and watch the movies, and like, oh, well, last week they were right here. Well, they're not there anymore because now it's a new month or whatever. So they changed their content and it's not there. And so it's like, well, I wanted to watch this. Now what do I do? Well, guess what? Go to the DVD shelf and we have them over there. Rose said, remember when we thought that streaming was going to be cheaper than all of our cable bills? It is for me anyway, because again, I don't have cable. I have streaming services. Just the streaming services saves me about $80 a month for a lot of channels that I wouldn't watch. So, but again, I don't mind buying physical media if it's something that's cool. Kind of like when I used to buy, and I don't do this anymore because now I can't really even bring myself to go into GameStop anymore after being a GameStop manager for so long. But we would used to have launch parties for games, midnight release of this game that would come out. When you pre-order this game, you get a special cover. You get this steel book. You get this really cool poster. You get this patch and this T-shirt and this towel. And you would get so much stuff just for pre-ordering it. Now, for pre-ordering a game, you get a digital code that gives you digital content, and they don't even have midnight releases anymore. It's just here you go, 10 a.m. on the day it releases. Have fun. So I just GameStop has really gone down the shitter. And guess what? The shitter's full, friends. The shitter is full. Christmas vacation. There you go. They really have gone downhill. We were talking about it the other day. Remember, we were talking about to get a new release of a game, you'd have to bring in 5 sport or non-sports title games that you didn't play anymore, and then you'd get the new one for like $10. But they don't have those anymore. There's no incentive to buy the physical copy. Even for like Ro put the Steelbook. How rare is it to find, at least for us here out in the desert, how rare is it for us to find a cool reason to buy physical media? They really don't have it. You can buy for $30. You can buy the Blu-ray plus the DVD plus the digital code. Plus, hey, Ro, if you're not using those digital codes, I know a place that I know somebody that could use some digital codes to watch some movies. But yeah, and even Spencer, big gamer as I am, if not more, preload the game and it unlocks at midnight so we can play it right away. Ro, I was we were talking about that Steelbook. I had mentioned it. It looks cool. And that's the old Battlestar Galactica, right? Not the remake. Or was that the remake with a fancy new case? If it's the remake and just a Steelbook, you got screwed. If it's the original, then well done, sir. Well done. See, OG. Ro had a Betamax in his house. But again, I mean, I love physical media. I love looking at the books. Sorry to bring this up again, Ro, but the last collector's editions that I got were the Rise of Skywalker. Probably was the last collector's edition that I got, and it was really cool. It had like 2 discs, maybe 3 discs. It had a slider dust cover that went over it that was holographic. It was like an inlay DVD. The last Force Awakens had a 3PO figure with the red arm. I mean, it's just it's really those were really cool. But again, I got those while I was living in civilization up in Connecticut. Uh, Living out here, we have Walmart, and that's the only place that we go. So I'll look and see, oh, hey, is there anything cool out there? And they just have your standard editions. They don't have uh they don't have anything that's worth it for me to say, "Ooh, I have to get this because look at this cool case." Or no, it's just your standard issue Walmart cover, and because that's the best that we can do out here. We don't have video stores. We don't have Best Buys or uh, I don't know where else people uh, buy their stuff. There's a good question. So, where do you guys get your cool DVDs from or Blu-rays from? Do you go to a specialty store? Do you go to just your standard run of the mill Walmart or Best Buy or insert electronic store name here? Where do you guys get your cool stuff? Do you get it online? While I take another drink. Because maybe I'm just not plugged into um, the correct website to maybe alert me. You know, hey, we have this cool edition of this movie coming out. Roe uses Best Buy. The nearest Best Buy is in Albuquerque, and that is uh, that's a 3.5 hour drive. Um, in order to get up there. So that's a 7 hour round trip just to go to Best Buy. I don't see that happening. Maybe if I haven't tried Target. We do have a Target in Roswell, but again, 45 minutes. I uh, try not to go to Roswell too much. It's just a scary place. Um, but yeah, maybe I can just start scouring. Because I'd love to get some more special editions. Maybe I'll just put it out on Twitter. Hey, what's the cool special editions that are out this month or whatever? And you guys can direct me because I love collecting. We've talked too many cartel members. Um, yeah, yeah, it's scum and villainy reside in the Roswell area. Uh, you'll never find a more wretched hive there. Um, but yeah, there's not a day that goes by that there's not a stabbing, um, a shooting of some sort. Uh, people just running other people over. Yeah, it's bad there. That's why I'm glad I live in this small town that I live in. Although the video sources are limited, but anyway. So hey, I really appreciate everybody hanging out with me. It's been an hour and a half. We went through a big history lesson, but here at the Exegesis, we do that. We deep dive into it. I got into the nuts and bolts of VHS versus Betamax, all the way up to HD DVDs and Blu-rays and everything in between. We talked about some of our collections, where to go to collect. But you know what? Yeah, it's. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, next week, um, I have writer's block. Why is it so hard to come up with something new? Seems like lately all we're getting is rehashes. We're getting remakes. We're getting the same tale from a different point of view, but it looks like every other movie that we've seen. Rebel Moon. Why is it so hard to come up with something new? We also have the Red 5 Book Club, it's not Heir to the Empire. I thought I fixed that. Oh, I forgot to hit save after I hit the pencil. Was it Dark Forces Rising, which is the second part of the Heir to Empire trilogy, the Timothy Zahn books. Also, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. That way you get alerted anytime we do something new. Again, next week we will be back. And check out, I think we have some more Red 5 coming up, whether it's WSTR Radio or the Science Fictionary might do something here in a little bit as well. Just make sure you're following on Twitter or X, as they call it, or the Red 5 Discord, and keep up with all that. We are Red 5. Thank you for watching. Have a great week, everybody.